All right, my friends, welcome to this section where we are going to outline a product, right? Or we're going to outline a service or product or an offer in general. Because as you go through this section, you will realize that they are all the same. You will have your processes inside the mind that you're developing. You have goals that you want to hit, you have routines that you do, and as you refine these in your own manner by doing things yourself and figuring things out for yourself and solving your own problems, then you'll start to generate ideas for things that you can actually help other people do, right? So one example being fitness for me, where I've immersed myself in that environment, right? I have been doing fitness for a long time. I understand all of its parts. That is a key to learning in general, is understanding all sides of the equation. So I understand different types of training, different types of nutrition, reasons behind those. And over time, I don't do a traditional training style. Now, I use the principles from those training styles, and I don't expect you to. It doesn't matter whether or not you have a specific training style. It just matters if you can articulate your training style and why you do it that way, right? I follow Grego Gallagher's reverse pyramid training, which is vastly different from what other people do. It's unique in a sense. Now, it doesn't have to be unique, but I have a strong why behind why I do that, because it's training 3 days a week. You get XYZ benefits that you study by studying training and nutrition, and the reason why you would train that way to present a compelling argument, which is what we're doing online. And if I wanted to, I could create a training protocol that aligns well with my vision, with my goals, and other things like that, because I'm thinking of it from the perspective of my lifestyle, right? Which is what people want to improve. That's the main thing. They want to transform their lifestyle. And so, in terms of training, I could be like, well, I train 3 days a week instead of 6 days a week in the gym, which is very time wasting. That's a problem. A lot of people in 9 to 5 jobs couldn't do a 6 day a week training style. People that don't really care to train that much or don't really have a passion for it but still want to maintain their health. See, I'm creating a credible argument because I understand very deeply the things that I'm doing. That's why it's very important to immerse yourself in the environment and expose yourself to different perspectives relating to what you're doing and how it applies to your lifestyle, and cultivating intention behind your actions at all times, right? Because once you understand the why behind you, once you understand why you do something, you become much more effective at convincing other people to do it, right? Because if you don't understand why, then it's usually unconscious. You're doing it unconsciously and you have no idea why you're doing it. But if someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, how do you do these exercises, or how do you go to the gym? What's your routine? What's your training split? And I say, well, I go 3 days a week and I train high intensity. I don't do much volume. And they'll either ask why, or they'll just be like, oh, okay. Or you'll have to explain to them why you do that, because they haven't been exposed to it before. They don't understand why you do it that way and why they should also do it that way, right? So that's just food for thought before all of this. I'm already ranting. But here I said I was going to build out a product with you guys throughout this cohort. So that's what I'm going to do. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a new project. And now this is it's for brainstorming. Don't expect, like, you don't need a solidified product idea right now. That's not how it happens, okay? You don't just have the perfect product idea, have the curriculum all outlined, and have every single thing that you want to include in there before even starting. No, it never, ever works that way, right? You don't need the perfect idea to do this. You just need to do this, okay? You need to flesh it out and dissect what it is that you dissect the value of your interest, and then you pull that back together into a product or service because you understand it, right? You understand your interest. So, project template, you start it up. You can name it whatever you want right now. Doesn't really matter. You can add a deadline. Wouldn't do that just yet. And then in progress, these are all just fancy things, right? This is all up to you. If you want to create a project management template and make this your own, feel free and market it towards your audience. It's that simple. But then for brain dump, we're going to go over all of this, right? But you need to create one for yourself, because we're going to be copy and pasting one of the templates into here, right? We're going to be adding to this project over time and iterating on it throughout this curriculum, right? So don't worry about all that too much just yet. But I have one because I had the idea. I need to walk through my thought process on this, and that's why I wrote this down, because hopefully this will be helpful to you. But originally, digital economics was actually going to be called the 2-hour workday, right? It was going to include a more condensed version of everything that's in this cohort so far, but it was also going to include the lifestyle design section of things. So it was going to be productivity and business, right? And as we'll talk about in module 3 when we go over product creation, this is kind of me just pulling from my values, right? My values and combining a few things. So this is like combining my expertise, or this right here, the 2-hour writer, is like combining a writing book and a productivity book on like focused work, right? And how I personally use those teachings in my life, right? So that's what this is. So let's go through the thought process of this. So I had an idea. Mine's already fleshed out to an extent. It's going to be called the 2-hour writer. But if you wanted to create a writing product, you could just name it writing product. If you wanted to create a writing consulting offer or freelance offer, that's what you would name it. And now my thought process for this, how I came up with this idea, right? So I've been immersed in this space as a whole for a very long time. And this can be anywhere, not just Twitter, but I've been on Twitter and I've been exposed to what writing can do, right? So I know that writing is a beginner level skill that is already selling. This is extremely important, right? It's not about the why behind it. It's about, is it already selling? Is what you plan to sell already selling? And this should already have happened when we were talking about choosing your money-making interest, right? If someone else is doing it and you can teach it at a beginner level, then you can make an income. And the only thing stopping you from doing so is your mind or your ego telling you that you aren't qualified enough to teach when it just doesn't make sense. It's not how teaching works. But the reason I notice this is because there are a few people selling copywriting products, right? This requires you to be immersed in the space and on Twitter. So there's few people selling copywriting products. Dickie Bush, David Perel, they all make pretty good money with Ship30 and his cohort. I have a crossover audience with Dickie and display my writing skill day in and day out. I've noticed a lot of people that have gone into Dickie Bush's cohort also follow me. So why not provide a writing offer, especially when I'm good at it, and sell what's already selling? Like if I know that Dickie's cohort is already selling, why would I not create my own? If that's something I actually want to include in my brand, right? Because it's already selling. I'm selling it under my name rather than affiliating for him because I want to make it a part of my brand. If I didn't want to make it a part of my brand, then I could affiliate for him and go down that route. But yes. So Twitter growth guides, tweet swipe files, and other things, those are all selling, but Twitter is just applied writing, right? So I know that writing is an important thing, and I can also use this angle in my product itself when creating a sales page. So the idea is validated. I just need good marketing. I need a unique angle that is different, or at least somewhat different from them. It doesn't have to be different. It could be the exact same if I wanted it to, but I'm going to go with a unique angle. Higher price than most of the copywriting products and Gumroad products, because those I just want to hold my brand to a higher standard since I've been doing this for a long time. There's nothing wrong with Gumroad, and I actually recommend it as a first thing to put your course on. And then having a unique system. So my unique system with the 2-hour writer, since I'm combining kind of productivity and writing, that it's more of a lifestyle thing than it is a actual, like, here's how you learn to write, even though that is a big part of it. That has to be a part of it. And so how I came up with the name for this, or here's more of a thought process. So I wanted a beginner level product that teaches someone a skill, like my old web design product, because I don't want to do web design anymore. I like writing more as something that I want to go all in on with my brand. But web design kind of got phased out for me. And so I need that beginner level product in place because I'm building a broad audience, right? I need a beginner level product because if I just take them from me tweeting out basic things that get growth to, oh, here's how you can land more clients as a freelancer, it just doesn't make sense. I have to create freelancers and then teach them that. There has to be a step in between. So that's one thing, is noticing the gaps and being able to fill those gaps with a product or a lead magnet or just something. And so, yeah, the one thing, again, buyers buy again. So when I had the web design product, I paid for retweets from people that were already selling. I'm going to keep repeating this because it's very important, that were already selling a web development, web design course, or they talked about skill acquisition or something that translated over. Because with marketing, you're kind of joining in the conversation. You're not, like, there has to be some talk about it aside from just you, but you have to bring a unique perspective to it and convince them and educate them on why they should actually buy it. So now on to how I came up with the name. I came up with it, so the 4-hour workday for the original product was kind of a spin off of Tim Ferriss with the 4-hour work week. I changed it to the 2-hour writer for the sake of specificity and implying the end result. So 2-hour writer, it's how long I take to write in the mornings, and I do that every morning. And it's the foundation, and I could create a good marketing strategy around that. I already know that. And so after that comes a brain dump. So throughout like the past 2 weeks, I've been reading more about writing because that's important, right? Is you're immersing yourself in the environment. If you plan to sell something related to the money-making interest, then you need to read something and also pay attention that you bought a book on writing or whatever it is and it sells. So you buy books and other things that you can use as inspiration to create the curriculum or develop your own process and start having better ideas. So these are all just ideas that I've come up with as I'm on my walks, as I'm listening, as I'm reading about writing, as I'm reading about self-development, as I'm reading about productivity, and all of the things and how they apply to writing and apply to my life as a writer. Okay? So none of this will really make sense, so there's not too much worth going over it, but I'm adding in really everything that we're going to talk about later. And see, I'm swiping tweets as well and posting them in here. And it's just other things, like when you are consuming with intention to apply to a project, it becomes much more easy to notice things and understand their utility. That's why we engage with things on social media, is because it applies directly to our life and we are aware of that. So I have written out a lot, and a lot of this will go in the trash. I'm just writing out things that could possibly be included in the marketing, so problems, benefits, my story with writing, something that could be included in the curriculum, all of that fun stuff, tweets I could write, and things like that. And so next, I started the outline, and this is pretty much like I'm outlining what could be a curriculum or could be my way of teaching it, because that's the thing. Whether it's a product or a consulting offer or a freelance offer, you need a how. You need steps to get to, for me, what is the 2-hour writer? How do people get to that end result of being a 2-hour writer? Okay? And so I just wanted to give you a brief overview of that and how you should go about this, because once you have some form of an idea, then you're going to become much more aware of things as you're consuming them on the internet. And then you can start to add ideas here, brain dump all of your ideas related to it. And we're going to be adding to our marketing strategy in future videos. So that is it for this one.